Hello everyone. Have you ever tried to add linear gradient to a border using the regular CSS and find it difficult to do? Or if you are like me, you don't like the regular HTML list items and you want to change it to a custom CSS design? Then welcome to CSS Pseudo-element. CSS Pseudo-element helps us to achieve what we cannot do with ordinary HTML or vanilla HTML. Right now we are in VS Code. In the HTML page we have this H1 heading tag. Now using the before or the after insert an element before or after your text element. Let me show us with. Okay. So we have the content. So whatever you type inside the content appears, since it's after, you see that's why you have the hello after. If I change this to before, it comes before. Right? You're seeing this? Okay. Now the content hello has to be the first property you need to assign. But if the element you are going to use will be for design purposes only, then there is no need for any text content. Let me show you with an example. Let's do an example. So let's take this back to after. Let's take this back to after, and we do content empty. We just make it empty. Then we can do background color. Let's do dark blue. Right. Then we do height of maybe 5 pixels. We do width of the same 5 pixels. Okay, let's leave it at that. Now let's go to the beginning and add. Now applying position to the H1 will make your content visible. Let me show us with an example. H1. So let's apply position relative here. Then come down to this part and add position absolute. So that's where you have this element. Let me make it red. So it's obvious. So you see the red by the side there. Okay. Like I said earlier, applying position to the H1 will make your content visible. We have already done a video on CSS position. You can check that in the description below and also with the card on the top right corner of your screen. So you see the H1 we have position relative, then the other one, the after, now has the position absolute. And if you watch the video on position, you see that whenever we have position relative, position absolute, we can now use the properties top, right, left, and bottom. Now, if I come to the beneath the position absolute and I do bottom, and I say bottom 0, see that it comes down. And if I say left 0, left 0, and I do this on semicolon, and it starts from the left. You get that? From the left. Now you can adjust the width of the HTML element to its container. Now let's make this width, instead of 5 pixels, let's make it 100%. So it fills up the whole place. What you can now do is come to the regular H1 and add maximum content. So it stays between. So your width can now be 50%, which is half. You can give it space and say, okay, minus 0.5 rem. So it comes down a little bit. So you see the adjustment to what you are doing. Now, with this knowledge, you have the power of CSS in your hands. Now, let's do a few examples. So let me continue with this H1. Now, if you look the background, we didn't put height. okay, there's height already, 5 pixels. So let's reduce the height to maybe 3.5. Then we can now add background linear gradient. So I can do linear gradient and I'll say to right. So right, let's do red and blue. So this is how you can now add. Sorry. So this is how you can now add linear gradient to your border. Normally, if you do the linear gradient, it will not work. It will not work. You get that? So we have done this part. So you can add over states. So let's come back and say over, right? After you can now say width of 100%. So if you go over, it fills it up. Then you can decide to add transition if you want. So the transition, I will transit it on the width. We do 0.3 seconds, easing out. So if you put your mouse, it grows, you see the colors. So that's how that works. So that's the first example. Okay, let's do another example. So let me delete this. Okay, let me go back to the HTML. I hope you can always come back to the video and copy. So let's do and copy the video or copy these examples. So let's do button. So let's do button over me. So this is what we have. So I'll come to the CSS. I'll just delete everything and start afresh. So we have button. So we do padding 1 rem, 2 rem. So am I mixing things up like this? Am I typing up? 1 rem, 2 rems. Yep, 2 rem. So we have, if you want to change the font family, I don't want to change the font. Let me just leave it that way. Then I can decide I don't want border none. Can do border radius, right? 0.35 rem. So let's see. So this is what I have is a little bit curvy. I can say color of white, right? And do background linear, the same linear gradient now. So we can now do linear gradient. So I can do to right, comma. Let's take a color like 2ABFFF, then hexadecimal 00F71FF. So you have these two colors, right? Then you can now I can do position relative, Z index of 0, then cursor pointer. So that's for the main one. Now I want to do the after. So we do content, right? Empty content. We do the same. Let me copy this background linear, this linear gradient, and just copy this and put here. So I'll just change this color to FFEE00. And same for change this one to FFB300. So we have this now. So I can do height of 100% and do width of 0. So when you now over transitions, can do the border radius again, 0.35 rem. Can do position absolute, left 0, top 0, z index minus 1, sorry, z index minus 1. Then we can now do transition 150 ms is enough. So this is our over. And so that's the after state. Now let's do the over button over. So we can over after can undo width of 100%. So if I come now, see it? Yeah. Overs, I can make this color. You see that? So you can just do button over alone. Then color 000. So when you over, it changes to that black. You see this? So there's so much you can do with pseudo class element. Let's do another example, and this time we're going to be doing the ordered list. Now look at this ordered list where you have fruits, apple, orange, mangoes, pineapple, strawberry, and pear. This is the natural ordered list. This is the way it looks like. But we want to do something a little bit interesting. So let's go to our CSS and start, doing something about it. So let's start with counter increment. Let's use numbers. Now we're not going to do after. Or no, before, because it has to come before. Content counter number. That's a number. Now let's do border radius 50%. So let's do height 10 pixels, width 10 pixels. Let's do background color. Let's do dark blue. Color white. Position absolute. Left minus 23 pixels rather. Display flex align items center justify content center font size 0.7 rem font weight bold list type none. So this talks about let's do space, can do 1. So let's do maybe vertical align, let's do middle 20. We have 20. So this is how you do it to increment more fruits. Purple. Yeah, purple. So if you have increments, we've been able to do 3 examples. But we encourage us to practice these few examples and also go online and check other examples and try to work around the examples so that you can learn more. You can also post your attempts or your examples of what you have done for others to learn too. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so, and if you are a subscriber, we appreciate you all. See you in the next video. Thank you.